Imagine a perfect summer day in the mid-20th century. The sun hangs high in a brilliant blue sky, casting a warm, golden glow over neatly manicured lawns and quiet suburban streets. These were the idyllic scenes of childhood, moments filled with simple pleasures. Yet beneath this picturesque surface, a silent, invisible threat was steadily gathering strength. For much of the 20th century, childhood carried a silent fear, a fear of paralysis, a fear of being confined to a massive breathing machine, and a fear of a single word whispered in hushed tones throughout every community: polio. Poliomyelitis was not a new disease. Evidence of its devastating effects can be traced back thousands of years. For centuries, it caused sporadic cases of paralysis, a tragic but relatively rare occurrence. But as the 19th century gave way to the 20th, something began to shift dramatically. The disease was no longer a sporadic misfortune. It was becoming a recurring seasonal nightmare. Newspapers began to feature alarming headlines. The disease became a media sensation, its every move tracked with a mixture of morbid fascination and raw terror. The change was baffling. Why was this ancient disease suddenly rearing its head with such horrifying intensity? Strangely, it seemed to have a preference for clean, modern communities. This became known as the paradox of progress. For millennia, poor sanitation meant infants were exposed to the virus while still protected by their mother's antibodies, developing lifelong immunity. But with cleaner water and food, children first encountered the virus when they were older and no longer protected. This delayed exposure was far more likely to result in severe paralytic polio. The very advancements that symbolized a better, healthier future had created a window of vulnerability through which the polio virus could launch its most devastating attacks. As epidemic polio became an annual terror, it fundamentally altered the rhythm of life. What was once a season of freedom and joy became a period of intense anxiety and suspicion. Families were torn apart. A sick child was whisked away to an isolation ward, while a quarantine sign branded the family within, isolating them from their community. Parents were often not allowed to visit, separated from their child at the very moment their comfort was needed most. For the most unfortunate victims, the polio virus attacked the muscles of the chest, leading to respiratory paralysis. The solution was a frightening machine, the iron lung. It encased the patient's entire body, forcing air into and out of their paralyzed lungs. It was a life of complete dependency, a world confined to the view in a mirror. The fear that had paralyzed communities was channeled into an unprecedented national effort. The battle against polio became a crusade embraced by the entire country, driven by the March of Dimes. Founded by President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the organization revolutionized fundraising, turning spare change from millions of ordinary citizens into breakthroughs. At the heart of this quest was a young medical researcher, Dr. Jonas Salk. While others pursued a live virus vaccine, Salk chose a different path, a killed or inactivated virus. After promising early tests, Salk took a courageous personal step. He injected the experimental vaccine into volunteers, including himself, his wife, and his 3 sons. The results of a massive nationwide trial were announced. The words were simple, direct, and electrifying. The vaccine works. It is safe, effective, and potent. A wave of jubilation swept across the country. It was a moment of collective triumph, signaling the beginning of the end for polio. But the victory was not complete. In 1988, the world adopted an audacious goal to eradicate polio completely. A global army of volunteers turned the tide. This new phase would be fought on the ground in the most remote and challenging corners of the globe. They were armed with Albert Sabin's oral vaccine, easy to administer and ideal for mass campaigns. The results were nothing short of miraculous. The number of polio cases worldwide plummeted by more than 99%, a disease that had once terrorized The entire planet was being pushed back into a few final stubborn strongholds. Today, the long war against polio has reached its final, most critical stage. The wild polio virus is now endemic in only 2 countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan. The journey from the terrifying summer epidemics to the brink of total victory has been long and arduous. It transformed a season of fear back into a season of joy. Though polio is nearly gone, its legacy reminds us that science, compassion, and courage can change the world. It is a testament to the incredible potential that is unlocked when humanity comes together to protect the health and hopes of all our children.